Welcome to Delhi Field at Frank R. Campbell Stadium here on the campus of Averett University for this home opener for Averett women's lacrosse. Cougars finished 14-5 overall last year, 9-2 in conference. Made it all the way to the USA South Conference final where they lost to Meredith. So, girls looking to repeat another great season as they face Guilford College here today. Teams being introduced. Guilford has 14 returning letter winners for lacrosse. As the starting lineups being announced here. For the Cougars, Haley Boardway. Lotta Matilla. Raven Felder. Abby Taylor. Hannah Mae Ayers. Courtney DeLone. Elizabeth Peasley. And the new goalie for the Cougars, Emily Evie. And we'll step aside for the national anthem. Welcome back to Frank Campbell Stadium. We're about ready for the start here. The women's lacrosse season. Abby Taylor to face off in the middle to get things started. And all right. And we are underway. And Guilford gets the first possession. Advancing it. Who's number 22? Passing it around the Cougars' goal. There's Allie Earwood. Guilford getting it started with some passes, passing it around. There's a scramble at near goal. Guilford retaining possession. Casually passing it around the outside. Going through the middle. And a great save there from Eby, as a Guilford attacker had slashed through on goal. Guilford with the ball. Now here come the Cougars, and it's stolen. Beautiful read there. Was Ian Doley who took it away. Guilford passing around, looking for an opening. A shot on goal. No good. But Guilford will retain possession. A push foul was called there on the Cougars. Refs lining everyone up for the restart. Guilford's set piece is unsuccessful, but they will retain possession. And another push is called on the Cougars. Extended. Guilford working the ball around. Cougars playing some good defense. Another foul is called on the Cougars. Guilford will have a free shot. And it will be a goal for Guilford there. They'll take the lead in the opening score. And that was Nia Gill, the junior from Columbus. One of the 14 returning letter winners for Guilford. So they have a pretty stacked roster. Coach Charlotte Dixon for Guilford in her third season. back underway here. Taylor trying to get possession, mauled a Guilford player. Excuse me, that was Peasley. Now here's Guilford with Horcher. Horcher with it. Now passes it off. Guilford passing around the backside of the goal now to the near side of your screen. Back up top to Horchard. Now this is Gill now, cutting again. She's already scored. And another save there by Ebby. Cougars take out possession, but they've given it away now. Guilford bringing it back up. And Karen Granderson with the foul. Cougars playing physical early. And another foul here on the Cougars. And Guilford will be awarded another free shot, a free run. And it's a goal for Guilford. Number 22 will have to wait for the call. She's not on our roster. Reagan Bedner, freshman from Asheville, with the goal there. Guilford up 2-0 now. 26 minutes to go here in the first half of play. How you doing?
So what? How are y'all?
We're
Are we already live?
restarting here. Cougars down 2-0.
Down 2-0. Okay.
Trevor Armagos here with Davin Wilson.
Here on the Averett Sports Network, we're just into this one. Guilford already with a quick 2 goals against Averett. 25-38 left in the first. And that is Averett with the ball right now.
Davin, those goals were both scored on free run fouls awarded to Guilford, scored by Nia Gill and Reagan Bedner.
And it's really amazing how quickly those goals can come off of those
free fouls.
Fouls, yeah.
It's interesting because, the Cougars players still get a chance to close down, but it's like a straight run on the goal, and it's like a one-on-one opportunity. Really interesting, really unique to the sport of lacrosse.
It is, and Averett with a opportunity to get on the board right there. That was Hannah Mae Ayers, the sophomore out of Wake Forest, North Carolina. Right in Greensboro's backyard, more or less. And Guilford on the attack. Nice movement there. That is going to be number 22. There's a shot.
Just over the top.
And there will be a foul called on the play.
Good counterattack there from Guilford, though.
And lacrosse is one of those games. I know I was broadcasting one back a couple of years ago, and Averett was facing about a 6 or 7 goal deficit and pretty much erased it in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, lacrosse is one of the games you can score quick.
It is, and it's a very interesting game, one that I didn't know quite too much about before coming over here, but looks like Averett is going to have a good opportunity down here to strike. And Kelly Ryan, in her third season here at Averett, has had mucho success.
Yes, I introduced that. The Cougars made it to the USA South Conference Final last year before losing to Meredith, so they're looking to build on that success.
And there's another goal from Guilford. It's going to make it 3-0. We're going to take a pause here to see if we can't figure out who got it. It looks like number 16, Abigail Horchar there, making her second appearance in Guilford's second game of the season. Of course, this is Averett's opener here tonight. And they will take a quick break to reconvene at midfield. Also, Alexis Rosia, really one of the top scorers, top players in this Averett program in her 2 years. Also a big, big, big factor on the women's basketball team. And she is actually back to help out Ryan, assisting, and also getting her master's degree as well. Really great setup over here at Averett. I know I was a beneficiary of it. Get to work and do something you love to do. And there's a foul against Averett. I think we're going to have a card. Yes. It's going to be on number.
Yellow card, yep.
Yep,
Number
we're going to have a yellow card.
there.
It looks like 14. Is that it?
15, Raven Felder on that one.
I'm glad somebody's got some good eyes up here.
That was one of the harder fouls, too.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And it's really amazing how much the similarities, at least in strategies, are between soccer and lacrosse.
Yes, I've picked that up. Like you, I don't have much experience with lacrosse, so we're kind of learning as it goes. But yeah, now some discussion between the refs. As I said, the Cougars have been playing physical early here, but that was the the one harder foul of the few.
Yes. And I know the first time I ever broadcast a lacrosse game, I was actually kind of amazed at how many fouls they called, because I'd always imagined it as being a pretty much as long as you didn't take somebody's head off.
Yeah, a physical sport.
But you learn something new every day, right?
Yes. That was actually my first time I've ever seen a card called at a lacrosse game. So.
And loose ball right now. It's going to be Averett picking it up, number 24, Peasley. And Peasley, another one. I believe she actually.
Burning through the midfield here.
And ball slashed away there. But I believe Peasley, I know she led the USA South Conference in goals not too long ago, but if I'm not mistaken, I think she also finished right up there in the top of the nation in D3 in goals.
Wow.
Now, don't quote me on that, but I believe she had a big breakout freshman season, and Guilford with another opportunity here, some crisp passing. But that one is going to trickle below the field goal post into the end zone.
Peasley, like you said, yeah, she's the motor for this Cougars team. She can get going, the girls team to rally around her.
She is, and she's a very motivational player. Also along with Haley Boardway, another big-time player for this Cougars team. And I tell you one thing, though, I am glad we are up here in this booth tonight.
Yes, it's chilly one out
it
there
is
today.
chilly.
Yeah. We have a window open in the press box, so we can feel it a little bit, but certainly I know those girls out there are cold.
And we would like to
bless their hearts, the ones without sleeves on their arms.
Yes, yes. We would like to thank our camera crew over here today as well for braving the cold. Big shout out there. And, of course, in other Averett news, the Averett men's basketball team, 12 straight to win last night, program record.
Yeah.
Have already
they
clinched.
They are rolling.
They are. And another great coach there, and 6-year head coach, David Duino. David Duino, we actually started over here at Averett at the same time. And that's going to be number 13, Loda Mattia from Finland. But Guilford is going to get possession back as it trickled over the yellow sideline. Guilford, lacrosse, field hockey, big sports in the ODAT. A lot of talent coming out of both of them. I believe actually Lynchburg College actually made the NCAA tournament a couple of years back, and for women's lacrosse, and also big for men's as well. Also field hockey.
Yeah, the Cougars program's still young for women's lacrosse, and they've done some good things for a young program. So they just look to continue improving. And you got to think they love to play against some tough competition and get that experience, especially for a younger program.
Yes, yes. And, USA South, nothing to sneeze at either when it comes to lacrosse. You've got your Merediths and
Yeah.
you've got your Methodist. And, you got a lot of talented sides for Ryan and Rosia and the rest of the Cougars. And the Cougars trying to make something happen over here. Ball picked off, though, by Guilford. Guilford right now. And look at this. This is a 1v3, and she's not even paying it any mind. She's going to have a crack.
That was Nia Gill missing just wide there for Guilford. She's already scored today.
Well, I can see why. It made a nice diagonal
Really
run
quick,
right
yeah.
there.
Very quick. She's quick.
Of course, when Athletic Director Averett University Athletic Director Meg Stevens, when she got the funding for this lovely, lovely Daily Field over here, she did set it up to have the lacrosse lines on it and field hockey, which was her sport.
In anticipation for them to come on, yep. And they have now.
And you can usually see her. I know I did a story a couple of years ago for the local paper around here, and for both the men's and lacrosse programs. Of course, the women restart, and then the men in the first year of the program. And they were saying that Stevens was always quick there for good for a word of advice,
yes.
Coaching strategy, as she definitely had a lot of success.
She was in their practices sometimes. I heard she was very hands-on. She wanted this program to be successful.
Yes, and Stevens is a very hands-on athletic director. She's very involved with every program over here and has really done a tremendous job in building this athletic department up. Being a hometown Danville kid, I remember when none of this was over here. It was all played on where those new dorms are, those new senior dorms, and I used to play soccer over there, and it was very easy to roll an ankle.
Yeah.
On a
yeah, I remember that, the bowl.
Yeah. But she's done a great job since she's come over here. Of course, Frank Campbell had a lot to do. The late Frank Campbell had a lot to do. Averett's, I believe, 33rd president. Averett with an attack and a great save there from the Quakers goalie to keep the Cougars off the board. It almost looked like that was a guaranteed goal right there.
Went off right off the Guilford goalie's helmet.
And she is probably having some rattling teeth right now after that one.
Last year these two teams meet. Guilford got the best of the Cougars 20-5. That was at Guilford, so.
And how many games really besides football and basketball do you see such high score lines, Definitely don't see it in soccer.
Not much, no soccer, no baseball usually.
Yeah.
This is a higher scoring game, you're right.
Of course, you start getting into, especially D3 baseball, where the focus is a little bit more on offense and not so much pitching. Well, not to say the focus isn't on pitching, but a lot easier to find strong offensive guys than
being able to hit the ball and such, yes.
Yeah. So, and that is going to be number 15, Felder, out of Bowie, Maryland.
We're looking for Peasley there, but the ball was deflected away.
The eye-hand coordination it takes to play this game.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's
not easy. It looks like it would be easy, but you pick up a stick and try and go throw the ball around. It's harder to pass it than it looks too. It's a certain technique about every movement in lacrosse that makes it a hard sport.
It really is, and I remember when the first year I was actually over here. The first year was working full time over here. The first year lacrosse was actually implemented here, and I know a lot of us, Ryan, let's get down on the field and try some of it out. And, yeah, you're right. It's a lot in the wrist and, trying to make those, crisp passes. We got an Averett player down on the ground. Looks like she might have gotten a little bit of a Charlie horse there. We hope everything is all right. And we see Ryan coming out on the court or onto the field now to check it out. Sorry, still in basketball mode from the other night.
Yeah. The Cougar basketball team has been doing really good too. The men, talked to some of the guys there. I think they're expected or it's set that they're going to host NC Wesleyan in the first round here.
And that is always a fun battle as it pits David Duino against his former boss over at Coach Thompson over at NC Wesleyan. Actually was over there and then spent some time at Virginia Wesleyan. And, really Ryan coming from a very strong lacrosse state in Maryland, or New York.
Yeah, the northeastern area. That's the big lacrosse region. But she's from New York. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she is. I believe it's either Long Island or Staten Island, one of the two. It actually might be Staten Island because I think I remember giving her a hard time about being from the same place as the Wu-Tang Clan. So good old Shaolin. So, of course, if you listen to us on this broadcast, if you're listening now and you listen to the broadcast, pop culture references are definitely a big part of what we try to do here. Try to make it a little bit, try to spice it up a little bit for you guys.
Interesting. Keep it a little interesting.
Yep.
Let's see if we can get a number for you. Who this Cougar player is?
And it looks, could it be
Raven?
13?
I think it's 15. Looks like Raven Felder, who's walking off now, holding her left shoulder a little bit there. And Megan Emma will come on to replace her.
And, at this point with this weather down there, we talked about it earlier. I mean, any hit or anything is going to be amplified.
Yeah, you're going to feel that, yeah.
Yeah. And we also see Miss DQ Washington, Daquilla, walking off the field. Of course, she was a big part of this Averett University women's basketball team. And we were talking about basketball. The women's basketball team, a very solid season this year as well. Very solid, really, 3 years.
Yeah. They're set to be in the playoffs as well. They've had a pretty good. Or my first year, I went to the road game. They played Ferrum at Ferrum, and they lost in the last couple seconds. They lost by 2. But they've been successful. They have a very well-rounded team.
Yes,
a lot of people that can do every position. They can play every position very well.
They do, and I hope you were careful going up there to Ferrum. You can end up in what they call a holler up there.
We got heckled because we had to cross over their student section to get to our side. So they let us know where we were at.
Yeah. I tell you, one of the best places as far as student sections I think I've ever seen would have to be Longwood University. I know it's a place that Averett goes a whole lot, and Guilford right now with a chance to add to that total, some passing on the sideline over number 16, Horchar. No, that was number 18, McCain Brandt.
Guilford passing it around the outside of the Cougar box.
And Brandt, again, she's going to pass back behind the goal. Trying to get a reset here. Trying to get the best look of the field. That's going to be number 14 with the ball. And there's a shot. Nothing happening, though. And
one thing I've noticed about this Guilford offense is they're very patient. They don't force anything. And if they do give the ball away, they usually force a turnover right back so far, or at least they have here early in the game.
Very strong athletic program all around down at Guilford College. You have to be a part of the ODAC. Really solid sports all around. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, very well known for field hockey, lacrosse, also well known for football. You got your Randolph-Macons, you've got your Hampden-Sydneys, and those types of programs. And so we're going to have a stoppage in play. I think it's going to be a foul whistled against the Cougs. And a pretty decent turnout from what we see down here. Of course, we are kind of limited by the roof up here.
Of the view, yes.
But still for a
very cold night, yes.
Yes, and a weeknight on top of that. So
nice brisk Wednesday. There was also earlier, there was expected a couple inches of snow in the forecast. When I looked this morning, I don't know if that'll amount to anything, but
well, to tell you the truth, I'm kind of hoping kind of hoping it does. I'm currently a teacher down in North Carolina, so I'd love to have the day off of work tomorrow if I possibly could.
I just want to see a little snow.
Yes, and I'm sure y'all would like to have the day off too as well. And there's a shot and a goal by the Quakers. I believe that was Brandt, number 18. And she just got a pass right there from about, give or take, 5 yards out in the football red zone and took a shot, buried it right side of the net. And like you were saying just a second ago, Guilford, a very patient team. They're going to work very methodically, almost like they're playing chess.
Yes, they're not forcing much right now. They're not turning the ball over when they're attacking too much either.
They're not just keeping everything crisp and clean, and
they're really owning possession. Also, the Cougars haven't had as much possession, haven't had really too much, and that's why they're up 4-0 right here. Early.
Yep. And, you know, like we were talking about earlier, again, lacrosse very big, you know, just like soccer, very big on possession.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, crisp passing. And, you know, while you don't see quite as much of the one-touch, two-touch style like you see in a lot of soccer teams, it's still
it's a big teamwork sport.
It is.
Very big teamwork sport.
It is. Got a lot of field to cover.
They say in sports ends. Like this, like soccer and lacrosse, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So
that's it.
And it is true. It's very cliche, but it is true.
It is. Well, how many times, of course, about the only cliche I could really think of off the top of my head that's not true is it's raining cats and dogs.
Yeah, that would be a sight.
You
call me if you see that one, all right?
Yes. I think if we saw that, we would not have to worry about doing anything else for the rest of our lives.
Peasley here to face off for the restart. Cougars have pressed up now. Peasley running through that midfield. Had it knocked out from the back. Let's see if the Cougars can set it up.
And a nice pass from Peasley, about, I'd say give or take about 20 yards right there. And a good reception, good take in by May Ayers, the sophomore attacker out of Wake Forest. Also joining her from Wake Forest, junior Gabby Porter. And you know both of their parents have to be happy about their decision to play at Averett. And there's a shot, and Averett is now on the board, as I believe that was Peasley. And Peasley kind of just does a mic drop right there. And that was Abby Taylor, excuse me. And I love the mic drop there by Abby Taylor. She just put the stick on the ground, and she knew it was in.
Cougar ladies are on the board.
Yes.
Just about
3-1 is now your score.
Just about halfway to go here in the first half. 16:41 mark.
And really, that scoreboard is a really cool thing up there. It really is. I never will forget my first football game I worked. We had just set all that up. Of course, we didn't have all the extra video board and stuff on the side, but big lightning storm came in and struck the scoreboard, and so we were without a scoreboard, and
after it just got built,
after it just gotten put up, and it was actually probably about 100 degrees out that day, and I could literally, as I was walking radio and times up to the press box, I could feel my shoes starting to melt a little bit. So
feel that sensation. Restarting again. Peasley almost had it, but lost track of where the ball was.
Averett right now doing a good job playing defense, staying back, making sure they don't get too far out of position. Trying not to get caught up in a disadvantaged situation. So Guilford trying to get the ball in. They're right at about the soccer 18-yard line. And some nice triangle passing right there. Now they're going to switch fields completely. One back to the middle. Loose ball collected by Guilford. I believe it was number 11, Megan Jones. And Jones trying to get in, but it is actually stripped away. A nice defensive play there by the Cougars. Caroline Earl out of Ontario, Canada. Long way down, eh?
Yeah.
And, of course, looking over here at the old press box on the other side of the field, really, once again, a reminder of how far Averett Athletics has come. I remember working my first season over there, and it was and here's a chance for the Cougars to half their deficit. Ball passed back into the football end zone. It's going to be number 22, Mai Ayers. Of course, Abby Taylor, the young lady that grabbed the goal for the Cougars. She is a senior and looking at the possibility of trying to stay behind and maybe join Ryan and get her into or get her graduate assistantship.
Be a great addition to the coaching staff.
She would be. She would be. And, of course, Taylor also a big volleyball player as well for the Cougars. We definitely see her a little bit more in action on the lacrosse field, though, and we're going to have a foul whistled. And it looks like, and actually, I think I was hearing things.
No, I think there was a foul. I think I realized they allow them to kind of, if it's not like, it looks like if it's not in the, is that a goal? Yes, it is.
And, yes, Guilford will grab the goal. Going to wait to see the stick drop to see who got it there. That's another thing you don't see in a whole lot of sports. It looks, if you give us a second, we're going to try to get the number on that.
And that's the one number we're missing on our roster. I think that her first name is Hannah. I remember that, but her number is missing on our Guilford roster for some reason. But yeah, I was saying the fouls. It looks like if they're outside of like the goal area, that they're allowed to play on, kind of like soccer if they please. So yeah, you didn't miss. There was 2 fouls called. Guilford just played on very quick.
Good deal. It makes me feel like I'm not getting too old over here. I'm starting to hear things.
I like that, though. It's a nice strategy. That way, if you get fouled, if you have numbers, you can, even though if they fouled you, you can get back up and just play on really quick. Keep your advantage going.
And, that's one thing that, as my time spent as official in a couple of different sports, it's always hard to judge that time where you don't want to call a foul and slow down momentum, but you never exactly know how long a play or how a play is going to develop. So, you kind of have to keep an eye on things because you can't call a foul 45 seconds after the fact either.
Yeah. You have to make a kind of snap decision there.
Yes. And
but sometimes you got to be careful because if you do call a foul and the team feels like they had an opportunity to, score off of it, they're not going to be happy that you called the foul either.
They're not. They're not going to be happy one bit, and you can't really blame them for that. As so many sports, as we all know, really determined by momentum. And speaking of which, Guilford looks like they will be taking it into the break as we got about 12, just under 14 left in the first. So taking a look at the roster, a lot of Northeast Mid-Atlantic kids here on this Averett team. Got a lot of Maryland players, got a lot of New York players, North Carolina, and there's a loose ball. Both teams fighting for it. Guilford's got control. Number 16, Abigail Horchar. Ball pass over to the middle. That's going to be number 21, Lauren Curtis. So Guilford comes into this game 1-0. Averett, of course, as we mentioned earlier, is playing its season opener.
Another free run opportunity here for Guilford.
And there's a shot. Good save there, yes.
By Eddie. Excuse me, Ebby. The new goalie replacing.
And it's easy. I can't tell you how many times you try to get something out real quick and you accidentally goof a word or something like that. Goof somebody's name.
That'd be the sophomore goalkeeper from Maryland, as you were saying, Hagerstown.
Hagerstown, from what I remember, a big outlet place up there. Of course, I got stuck up there back about probably 15 years ago. We were down on 95 and hit a huge blizzard, and I think we were there for about 6 hours.
Jeez.
And so Averett now with a chance as it is going to be Peasley with a little bit of space to work, and she's going to draw the foul, and she is not waiting. It's not Peasley, excuse me. It's Taylor Roberts Deshawn. the freshman midfielder defender out of Maryland, Edgar Meir. Excuse me if I pronounce that wrong. And that's something else that's very unique to lacrosse. Actually have a separate officiating crew over there at a table on the side, or a stat keeping crew, excuse me. So Averett is going to have close to about a week break before it's back in action here on February 25th against Roanoke College. Then they will be making the trip the following Monday up to Baltimore for a matchup against Goucher. And Averett now with the ball on its end. Now, and trying to get it back, but Guilford, and there's a loose ball. Let's see who's going to grab it. There's a little underhanded scoop. And once again, the hand-eye coordination, it is really something to watch. Number 16, Horchar.
Guilford advancing now.
Ball over top the middle, and look at that gorgeous pass, and that's going to lead to a goal.
Beautiful cut.
Beautiful. Beautiful all around. That was number 16. Sorry, looking at the roster for the number right now.
Abigail Horchar for Guilford. She's got another goal today. She's already scored, so
one away from the hat trick.
Yeah, already.
Yep. So not a bad day at the office thus far for that young lady.
Score now 5-1 Guilford. 11:52 to go here in the first half.
And Averett actually, as you were mentioning earlier, had the 20-5 loss last year to the Quakers. Finished 14-5 overall in the year, though. 9-2 in the conference. Yeah. So a solid year for the Cougars, and Ryan is hoping to keep that going. And as we mentioned earlier, Meredith College just really a stalwart of USA South lacrosse.
Yes.
Really a stalwart in pretty much any USA South sport.
They're like NC Wesleyan and men's tennis. I think Meredith and NC Wesleyan, they have won the men's tennis and women's lacrosse titles for it's been about like 14 or 15 years straight. So those are the teams to beat.
Yes.
But they're really, really tough. They have a tradition and they have a program that's built and been successful for 10-plus years. So it's hard to take down those giants per se.
And really, you know, I think Kelly Ryan is well on her way to putting together one of those type of programs as well.
He's got some key pieces. Just got to keep building, and they're doing that.
They are.
And with a young program, some of the things you can look at year by year to kind of gauge the improvement are I think scores against previous teams. For example, we lost 20-5 to Guilford last year. It's only 5-1 halfway through the first half, so that's already an improvement because if you think about it, that's 10 goals a half.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Cougars can just do a little bit better than that, I think that's an improvement.
Yes. And from what we're looking at here, Ryan 10-8 in her first year, so she is 24-13 overall.
That's very good for a young program.
Very
Extremely good.
Very good.
Also a runner-up in the conference tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So already getting some accolades too.
And speaking of conference play, she's actually 13-7 in USA South play. And really, Averett, of course, the program ran from 2003 to 2007. The last year they actually posted a 10-8 record. Also went along with a 4-5 conference record, and ended up losing to Methodist in the quarterfinals. But really, they still had some success over there. It was one of their little bit more established teams. That along with baseball and men's and women's basketball has always been solid, and of course softball and then volleyball under the legendary Danny Miller.
He's an amazing coach.
He is, and demands a whole lot out of his players. And of course, they had the joke about Miller time.
It's Miller time.
Yep. Doesn't matter what time your watch
Miller
says.
time.
If you're late by Miller's watch, you are late. So really a lot to build off of, here for Ryan moving forward. We're going to take a look here at the men's lacrosse schedule. They actually got things started off on Saturday in Atlanta against Oglethorpe University. It's an 8-5 loss. So Averett trying to make something happen in front of goal. There's a shot.
Wow, what a save.
Nice save. Great save. One of Guilford's players went down. We're going to see if there's a foul called on that.
They're trying to reset the shot clock, it looks like.
And, of course, we would like to thank our wonderful sponsors over here, including English Construction, Hampton and Wilkins, Piedmont Graphics and Designs, Piedmont Flooring, SDR Construction, FMS, State Farm, Kono Ice. And Averett there with a shot and a goal. That is number 24, Peasley. And Peasley is no stranger.
She cut in across the face of the goal from the left side, the near side of your screen there, and took it and fired it into the top right corner. Good finish by her.
And great finish really there, as you were mentioning, left side going opposite post.
Score now 2-6. Averett cutting the deficit. Great
Is that
possession
Katy
there.
Perry I hear out there? Possibly firework? No, it is not. Excuse me. One thing that I truly love about women's sports all around is you see so much more enthusiasm, so much more spirit. The celebrations are really great. And then plus, too, a lot of times when you interview them, they'll, especially at the high school level, they'll actually give you a response as opposed to, I play baseball, that you sometimes deal with
at the high school level.
at the high school level, yes.
So Guilford now on the restart, and the Cougars force a turnover.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you know anything about lacrosse, you know this game is a mile in 2 days, if that makes any sense. Not really. But using a little hyperbole there. But, this one is far from over.
Yeah, it's a long game.
And I'm trying to get some stats from last year's game against Guilford. And currently having some
Guilford.
trouble here, but I think we just got it.
Guilford with the ball, working it out from their own defensive. And a great pass here. No one really in the middle for the Cougars except for Granderson. And a foul is going to be called here. And Guilford will have a free run at goal.
So Peasley actually added a goal last year against Guilford on 3 shots.
Oh, wow.
Finished with and do we have a goal right
Yes.
there? We do.
Number 22 again, Hannah. Let's get her full name.
And this young lady she's really off to a hot start here. And while we have a break and play, we're actually going to go over to Guilford's website here, put together by their terrific sports information staff down there. About an hour from Danville, not too far away from here. Only thing is you do have to watch your traffic coming in, especially from Raleigh. It gets a little crazy right there on the interstate. But when is it not crazy on the interstate?
Yeah, true that.
And so we're going to take a look here and just see for Guilford some of the big players that they had last year. Give us a second to get to some stats. And looked like that was Reagan Bednar, the freshman attacker out of Asheville, North Carolina. Great music scene down there.
Asheville, yes. Not familiar with the area, but I know there's a lot of great music around this area.
Yeah. Asheville down there about 3 hours west of Danville. I'd say give or take maybe about 2.5 from Greensboro. And so Guilford going back to the spread attack here. Number 24 with the ball for the Quakers.
With that patient offense, passing it around, trying to break down the Cougars' defense. What they seem to have been doing what's working is getting the ball behind and then swinging it around the post and hitting a runner who takes a shot.
And can you imagine trying to release the ball when you're making a diagonal run like that and actually have it be on target?
Yeah. And then people swatting at you too.
Yep.
Bumping you. Can't make the job much easier.
No, it can't make it easy at all. And as we saw, Guilford actually started off its season with
a goal here by Madison Iandoli for Guilford, number 14, the senior from Palm City, Florida.
And so that is going to make it 8-2 now with 8:23 left in the opening frame. Guilford actually started off the season on Saturday against Averett's future USA South opponent here, coming up before too long, Pfeiffer, down there near the Charlotte area. In fact, a lot of it, if you get down into the, of course, they don't call it downtown Charlotte, they call it uptown Charlotte. So if you get into that area down there, you definitely see a lot of signs for Pfeiffer.
They have a nice campus too. It's actually quite nice.
It is. It is. Charlotte, a really nice place all around. One of the biggest city in North Carolina.
Yes.
Followed by Raleigh.
Without a doubt.
And Greensboro cannot be too far behind that.
Restarting here, Guilford taking it into the Cougars' defense. And they start off with that behind the goal passing action. Guilford's been very effective with their spin moves. The more agile girls at the top of the box spin and get inside, very, very good. We'll see if they show us a great example here coming up. But, like I said, very patient. They don't force it at all. They wait for everything to develop.
And speaking of developing, that was a nice play over there as it was number 25, Ollie Earwood, getting over to Reagan Bednar. Bednar with the attempt, but a nice.
Just couldn't handle the pass. She would have had it, too. It was open. They had set it up.
Yep. And we've got an Averett player down on the far side. And looks like it could possibly be a cramp. Of course, she is up and moving.
Haley Boardway over there.
And that would Boardway a big part of this Averett team the first year of its existence.
In that conference title game, she scored the lone goal for the Cougars as well.
Mm-hmm. And correction, I shouldn't say existence since it's reemergence, since it's rebirth. So as we mentioned earlier, Averett, but if you're just joining us, here is the upcoming schedule for the Cougars. They will host Roanoke College to continue its the Cougars, got my pronouns mixed up there. But the Cougars will host Roanoke College to wrap up their 2-game homestand. And then they will hit the road for 2 games, including a trip to Baltimore for a matchup against Goucher College on March 2nd. And then they will, not a lot of rest for the weary, as they will turn around the following Tuesday and take on Hood College out of Frederick, Maryland.
Back-to-back games in Maryland, yes.
And
it's going to make the most out of the road trip while you're there.
Yes, yes. So Averett with the scoop on the loose ball. And we've got a stoppage in play. So we're going to take a second here and see if we can pull up some stats from Averett's first year. Of course, Boardway's first year and Peasley's first year as well on this Cougars team.
Cougars now working to Guilford's defensive third of the field.
And, of course, Abby Taylor, we can't forget about Abby. And here's the opportunity for the Cougars. And there's a shot. They will not be able to capitalize on it, but Averett keeps the ball down in its neck of the woods.
Now restart Peasley with it. Back up top. Steckeroth.
And Boardway, her first season here at Averett, played in 17 games, had 7 goals, 2 assists. Now the Cougars on the attack. Trying to make something happen here. This is number 23.
Shot. Yeah. Great shot there, but saved.
Yeah, we are going to have a stoppage in play.
And the Cougars will retain possession.
And we were talking about Rosia earlier. Rosia really just went ham her first year in Danville as she contributed 51 goals and 15 assists.
That's outstanding.
She is a real multi-purpose athlete. As she really just uses her speed and just grit to make a difference.
It was fun to watch her play basketball as well. She was very, very talented.
Very talented. Big part of Liz Huddy's team there for a while. Of course, back when Alexis was there, she was known as Liz Hickey. Then got married, and Liz Huddy.
Yeah, and the women's playoff game that I was talking about, I went to at Ferrum. Alexis had a game-winning shot opportunity, and it hit the rim and the backboard, and the rim again. It went out so close. But yeah, she was very quick, very great, very good guard. Just really quick, slashed, and then she could kick out. Or she had some good some very good layup moves too.
She did, especially to be as quick as she is and to attack the basket as quickly and as hard as she did. It was
fierce competitor.
Yes, she is. And on top of that, very humble. Comes from a great family. Had the chance to get to know her parents a little bit. I believe Alexis was actually a freshman my last year here at Averett. And so Guilford now with an opportunity. The ball is scooped up there after it deflected off number 1, Ronis Ike.
Great save there by Ebby. Ebby's first game in goal.
Well, she is definitely showing why Ryan has got the trust in her that she does, as she's really come out here and done a great job.
Looks like they're going to have a timeout here. Yeah, Guilford will take the timeout.
And excuse me on the pronunciation earlier, it was actually Ranis Akinyi out of Baltimore, Maryland, Chesapeake High School. When you think of the Maryland, D.C. area, the Chesapeake River, of course, is not really the first one that comes to mind. You think about the Potomac and Washington crossing on it when it was frozen in the, I believe it was American Revolutionary War.
Little history lesson there.
Yes. Provided to you by all the wonderful teachers I had. So speaking of Rosia, she played in 16 games her first season here at Averett. Averaged 5.8 shots a game, 3.19 goals per game. So you're talking about a hat trick a game right there. I mean, that's
a really good average.
It is. It's a great average, and like we were talking about earlier, just a great young woman not young anymore, a great woman. Of course, she also had Lindsay Bateman, who was here that year for the revival. Okay. And we're trying to get an idea of who's between the sticks down there. A little bit harder to see than it looks up here. So we're going to take a look here. Peasley in her first year, the criminal justice major, started in all 18 games, scored what was then a single season program record of 72 goals, added 9 assists, set the single season points record with 81, totaled 6 goals or more 5 times. Also had a career high 8 goals against Salem, earned first USA South All-Conference First Team Attacker honors, named to the VASID All-State First Team, and on top of that, Academic All-Conference honors as well.
Yeah, so she's very decorated.
She is. And then, of course, last year, the junior out of Wilmington, North Carolina, actually set the single-season scoring record with 84 goals and 12 assists. She broke the program's career scoring record with 156 goals and added 177 points. She tallied 6 game-winning goals, recorded a team-high 131 draw controls, recorded 47 ground balls and 10 caused turnovers. Named to the VASID All-State Second Team, selected to the conference first team at attacker, and there's a shot and a goal for the Quakers.
Nia Gill completing her hat trick.
Always a big feat. I don't care what sport it is when you can grab 3 goals in one game.
Not a better feeling, truly.
And Peasley, the daughter of Wayne and Nicole Peasley, as we mentioned earlier, out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Not necessarily the biggest lacrosse state, at least when you think of it, but she has definitely given North Carolinians a good name on the lacrosse field.
Indeed. When I think about lacrosse, I think about Ohio, New York, Massachusetts, Maryland, a little bit of Virginia too. Well, actually, a lot of Virginia actually.
Yeah, you start getting up above you start getting into the Virginia Beach, Richmond, D.C. areas.
Duke is a very good, respectable lacrosse program.
Mm-hmm. Of course, when you have the money Duke has to work with, you better have something to show for it. Something not always seen at the Division III level. So the endowment funds don't quite tend to be as big. And that's one thing that Averett's athletic director, Meg Stevens, really excels at is getting fundraising and getting donations. And of course, the Dailies, who this field is named after, have always been big factors in Danville sports, as they've had sons that have played semi-professional baseball.
Cougars now going to score again. Peasley, her shot's blocked, but scooped up again by the Cougars. Ooh, wow.
Great attempt right there. It was solid passing. Averett still with the ball, though, still trying to attack, make something happen. Of course, they will have to try to hustle back here. So number 19, Earl. And a great job of switching fields there. She gets it over to Taylor, the senior attacker midfielder.
Now the Cougars will set up shop.
A lot of talking down there. That's what you like to hear. A lot of communication between these two sides. So number 24, Peasley now.
About a minute to go here in the first half.
Ooh.
Another good save there.
Just a bit to the left. As Bob Euchre said, just a bit outside. So Guilford going to try to pick it up now. We're going to believe possession is going to go to the Quakers. So that's another thing that always has kind of amazed me too about lacrosse, actually a shot clock down there. You don't see that in too many field sports. Pass back behind the goal, right? And great defensive play there by Earl. But it's going to be for naught, as I believe it was number 11, Jones, that scooped up the loose ball off the deflection. And buried it home for the goal. And we're going to get you some live stats up and running here so we can be a little bit more solid with our official stats. And that was actually Nia Gill that scored that goal. It's her 5th of the season. So Gill, 2 games, already 5 goals, and it's got to be, that is what you would call a solid start.
Yeah, very good start. Explosive start.
So right now Guilford has been able to take advantage of the free position shot, scoring 5 of their 10 goals for the season, of the half. And that's going to wrap things up here for the opening 30. If you're just joining us, Guilford in front, 10-2. We're going to take a quick break here on the Averett Sports Network. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Averett University and Daly Field. I'm former Assistant Sports Information Director Davin Wilson, and joined here by Trevor Romagos. Trevor, I got that one right, didn't I?
Yeah.
Awesome. You work in this business, you learn how to pronounce names.
That's a big part of it.
It is, or you're just going to look like an idiot. And I don't like looking like an idiot. So there's the drop back pass there. They'll spread it out a little bit. So Averett comes into the half facing a 10-2 deficit. Plenty of time, though, for the Cougars to turn that around. Right now, Nia Gill, the leader for Guilford, has 4 goals. Reagan Bedner with 3. Madison Ian Doley with 1. Abigail Horchar with 1. And then for Averett, it has been Abby Taylor and Elizabeth Peasley getting on the score sheet. Earwood has 2 assists for the Quakers, while Audrey Heffelbein has 1, and Haley Bordway has assisted 1/2 of Averett's goals. And Trevor, you were talking about earlier just the precision of passing, the patience of this Guilford team. They're not rushing anything, and not that you really have to when you have a 10-2. Oh, and there's an attempt, but there's going to be a foul blown before the shot fully gets released. But, it's very easy to kind of take your time when you're up 10-2, but something gives me a feeling that this Guilford team, even in these tight games where they might be trailing, they're going to take their time. There's a free position shot, and it's a goal. And I'm trying to get the score there.
Yep,
So.
Abigail Horcher again, number 16.
And that is Horchar's second goal of the game, first of the half. So we are 28-28. You don't get to say that often. Maybe we need to go and buy a lotto number with 28-28 on it.
It'd be a lucky day. Could be a lucky day.
Could be. So Averett with a crack at the reset here, or at the face-off. And here we go. And Guilford is going to take possession right back. It's a pass over to number 24, Heffelbein. So there's a drop back pass, a square pass, another square pass. There's a pass down the right side. She's going to center that one to the back behind the net. And here's another Guilford attempt. It's going to be a infraction whistled on the play.
Karen Granderson, the offender for the Cougars.
And, Trevor, I would love to take a look at some strategy here in lacrosse and see if it's a lot like basketball in the fact of zone defenses and zone offenses and things like that, man-to-man. And we've got a yellow card issued. That is Averett's second of the contest. And we've got another stop and play. So 27:33 remaining in the in the closing half. I think they're going to have a reset here. Thank you for joining us here tonight on the Averett Sports Network. Now, you could have been a whole lot of other places, but you decided to kick your feet up with us tonight. I hope you are nice and warm and inside and not at work, especially considering if you were work at this time of night, you are probably either on the second shift or third shift, obviously. Third shift, never a fun one to work.
Never fun to close.
Never fun. And there's number 15 for the Quakers with the goal, with the shot and the goal.
Good teamwork there from the Quakers, as we've seen for most of the game.
And, I mean, really, Trevor, you've spoken on it. We've talked about it. Really great passing here by this Guilford team. And it's funny that it's Guilford because it almost kind of – a lot of the passing almost kind of reminds me of Dean Smith's triangle offense down there, not too far from Greensboro and Chapel Hill.
They work the corner. They work the corners well. Yes.
They do. They do.
They hit the people. They hit the players cutting to goal very well, and that's where they create their shot opportunities.
And that is the truth. And they really they do a great job with it. And I think we're going to see some big things out of this Guilford team this year. I really do. I think we will see some big things coming from them. So here's a reset. Face off.
Cougars get the possession. Peasley with it.
And Peasley, another fast player for the Cougars team, as she has really been just slicing and dicing here tonight.
Blazing, yeah, she blazes through the danger area.
Yes.
For Guilford. Every time she wins the face-off, she just blazes upfield, it seems like.
She does. She is definitely, to use a Top Gun reference, she is definitely Averett's Maverick. Runs at Mach speed. And she's got an opportunity there, but a great save by the Guilford goalie. Great save there as Peasley was.
The Guilford goalie's made a couple really good saves.
She has, and especially on that one because.
And those Peasley shots aren't anything easy, I promise you that.
They are not, and Peasley was so close. Guilford's goalie could probably tell what Peasley had to eat pre-game.
Guilford back with it, running their patient offense.
There's a drop back pass over to number 14, Iandoli. And Trevor don't look now, but Averett is on the move. Let's see if they can get one of these goals back. Ball switched over there, or really squared.
Yeah, Haley Boardway was cutting to the middle, but they couldn't find her.
And there again, I have trouble catching a basketball sometimes. So I can only imagine what trying to catch a lacrosse ball is like. I was much more of a soccer, baseball-oriented guy than, especially with soccer, the ball is plenty big enough to see.
Yeah.
Of course, unless it's coming at you at 80 miles an hour, and then you might end up with a trip to the dentist.
Or at least a concussion.
Yes. Which neither one is a fun day at the office. Ball squared over.
Turnover now. Guilford will advance it back to the Cougars. Defensive half.
And again, I have to make a correction in the last name. I called Madison Iandoli. It's actually Iandoli. It's actually Iandoli. That is my bad on that one. Mi culpa. For all you Spanish majors or native speakers, is actually my bad. See, Trevor, we're all full of information here on the Averett Sports Network.
That's why they call us the Sports Information Department.
That's exactly it. And so the Quakers are going to square that one over. And very nice lateral passing, and there's a shot scooped up by the Cougars.
Great save there by Ebby again. She's made some very good saves this game as well.
She has, and has constantly been tested. Let's take a look here, see how many shots Guilford has. Guilford right now with 23 shots on goal to Averett's 12. Or, excuse me, 23 shots altogether to Averett's 12. 17 of those shots have been on target. 10 have been free positions. Of course, Trevor Averett winning the ground ball battle right now by a slim 17-15 margin. So you have to like that if you are Ryan. There's another switch. Ball is dropped back. Squared over, and now the field has completely been switched. Averett respecting Guilford's passing prowess as they are standing a couple of feet back more in a.
So far, I think that's the biggest thing that has separated these two teams. Guilford's passing is just a little more superior to the Cougars.
Yes.
And the score has shown that.
They really have, and it's it's been one of those things that has made the difference. I mean, we've got a 12-2 score line, and a lot of that has been because of that. But of course, you got to give Averett credit. And there's a shot, and that one is going to tickle the twine. And we're going to wait for a second to see. It is nearly impossible without binoculars to try to see who got the goal down here, especially with these maroon and black jerseys, the black lettering.
That would be a stat I'd like to know, though. Pass completion percentage. That would be a very telling stat in this game. Now it's obviously really hard to keep all those stats, especially in a game like this with fast moving, a lot of different parts and stats to keep track of. But I'd love to know what Guilford's pass completion percentage is.
Well, and especially difficult, like you were saying, Trevor, to pick up and to try to keep everything. And it would be difficult if you had a full staff, but Joseph Swanson, Daniel Lacey in the room next to us, Assistant Sports Information Director, and Swanson, and then also Lacey, Grad Assistant Sports Information Director. It gets a little difficult. So that was Earwood with the goal for the Quakers as the official stats have come in on that one. And we're going to try to, that is Earwood's, give me a second here. That is her actual first goal of the game. She does have 2 assists. So she's now run her total up to 3 total points. So first goal on 4 shots. Cool stat here. First shot on goal actually goes in the goal. So
for Earwood, yeah.
But Averett really getting tested out here out the gate. Really some strong opponents coming up in the next little bit. And it's really been one of those things. It's been fun to see. And
which will get tuned up for conference play.
Yes.
It's always good to face some tough out of conference competition.
And, that's one thing a lot of these coaches around here are very good at doing. I know there are a lot of programs that will line up games against mid D1 programs if travel costs allow. I know men's basketball constantly with regular games against, I believe it is Winston-Salem. High Point.
And also UNC Greensboro.
Mm-hmm. And then
who made the big dance
last
year. So.
Yes. And then they also got into a while there. It was a little bit of a regular tradition. They would play Longwood. I don't think that has been renewed in the last couple of seasons, though. That's a little bit of a jaunt, close to about probably 2 hours, give or take, from Danville. But there again, Longwood is a incredibly fun place to go watch a basketball game. Incredibly fun. They got a great student section up there. And
students show out for the basketball game. This is what I'm hearing.
Oh, they do. They do. And very clever in their very clever. And Guilford, with an opportunity here, the ball is scrambling around like an egg. And it's going to be picked up by the Cougars. And my roster just went flying everywhere. So ball played back over in the middle. So we got 20 minutes now, right under the 20-minute mark in this contest. 13-2 is your score. And speaking of lacrosse, Tony Mackin the men's lacrosse coach here over at Averett. And ball is loose at around about the 8-yard line for football. About 8 yards out. That ball is spread across and over to number 14 for the Quakers.
Guilford now passing it around.
So that is going to be number 18, Brandt.
No, foul there. Going to be called on the Cougars.
And Trevor, in this business, you learn to appreciate programs that include pronunciation guides.
Yep.
And Guilford definitely doing a great job at that. And
those are lifesavers in our industry.
they really are. And I believe the USA South, and here's another opportunity for Guilford. Let's see what happens. But the USA South traditionally didn't necessarily, the teams weren't required to do that coming into the season. Back a couple years ago, of course, those rules have been changed now. They do have to include a pronunciation guide with the rosters. And there's another opportunity for Guilford. Nice defensive play there. And as you look down here by the field house, you can see, and then on the opposite side of the field, on the south end of the end zone, you can really see Averett really has great support from the Danville community. And I remember one of my jobs here was to drop off printed schedules and posters, and also try to set up and try to help bring in some extra business. And I know those were always 8-hour days when I had to drop off those when I had to drop them off, because there were just so many. And I know everybody here at Averett University, from the grounds crew to Meg Stevens, the athletics director, definitely appreciates the support.
Oh yes. You go into Buffalo Wild Wings, they have Averett sports schedules posted just about anywhere almost.
Just about anywhere. Then I believe one of the last games they actually, it was maybe a senior night game for the women, or I can't remember exactly, but I know they had a live broadcast of it down at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yes. One of the men's games, they had a live broadcast at Kickbacks too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kickbacks, another big supporter of Averett University Athletics, of course. I believe he is a former owner now. I'm not sure if he is actually still employed with Kickbacks, but there's a young man named Chris Dahm actually starred and Guilford with an opportunity shot, and once again denied, as Averett does its best Dikembe Mutombo impression and goes, no, no, no. Trevor, if I'm not mistaken, I believe there was actually a popular song that came out about 10 years ago. That was the hook. It was no, no, no. We're going to have to do a quick Google check here.
Yeah, let's look that one up. Who's now with it? Abby Taylor. In the corner to May Ayers. She'll bring it around the back side of the goal. Try and cut, was looking for Cougar to cut. Trying to get it to Peasley or Boardway in the middle, but Guilford shut it down. So the Cougars will reset around the top. Over to Taylor. Back to Roberts Deshawn working inside. Good pass and another great save by the Guilford keeper.
And great teamwork there by Averett, as you pointed out, Trevor. Great
pass in there, and they worked the ball around well. Just another shot saved there. Can't do much about that.
And just another pop culture reference, the No 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 song that I referenced earlier was actually by Rich Homie Quan. So just again, some useless information there provided to you by the Averett, provided by me. I don't want to put Averett on that. a lot of fun doing what we do, isn't it, Trevor?
Yes, it is.
Yes, you gotta have fun with it, and
Gotta make some fun out of it.
of course, I always mean to take a look at YouTube and try to keep a track of how many people are actually listening in. And of course, you never really think about doing it until it's post game, and then it's a little too late. So there's the square ball over, and that is going to be number 15, Thresher. Or no, excuse me, number 16, Horchar.
Guilford running their patient offense, setting up their play. A shot, but this time missed. But Guilford will retain possession. A restart quickly. And a foul there on Karen Granderson. And she'll have to come out.
And we've got a stoppage in play down here. And I'm actually trying to do a quick search here to see where the surname Horchar actually comes from.
And Guilford will have a free run from the left side of the box this time. But the ref's still discussing something. Looks like we've got it sorted out and we're ready for action.
Ready to go once again. And Guilford has definitely made use of the free position shots here. 5 of its 13 goals. And now making 5 out of its 14 goals have come on the free position shots. And Trevor, I had to work so hard when I first started broadcasting lacrosse not to call them free range shots, since we're not really talking about chickens down there.
Yeah.
So.
And they're called free
range.
Free range shots.
Yes, or free position shots,
Free
excuse
position
me. Yes,
shots.
yes. So that was Horchar with the goal, the midfielder, senior midfielder out of Palm City, Florida, 5'9". So solid height for that young lady. And she definitely makes solid use of it. And she has tonight is, I believe that should be goal number 4 for her. I'm going to re-update my stats here. And actually, excuse me, that was goal number 3. So she has a hat trick now, and that gives the Quakers 2 players with hat tricks, as Bednar also has one. Reagan, the freshman attacker out of Asheville, North Carolina, coming in second collegiate game and throwing in the hat trick already. So we're going to take a look here at some of the goalie stats. Trevor, you were talking a second ago about Ebby providing excellent
Some good
defense
saves
here.
yeah.
She has 7 saves. Meanwhile, for the Quakers, Dano has 6 saves, and she's actually sitting at a 75% save percentage right now. And something gives me the feeling that there will be several TV stations down in North Carolina that are going to have plenty to talk about with this Guilford College women's lacrosse program this year.
Yeah, they're getting off to a hot start. 1-0, put up 14 here so far.
And still 11-10 remaining in the contest. It's been a clean game too. Not many fouls called. Not a lot of chippiness down there, and you always love to see the sportsmanship on display. So Guilford right now trying to get something set up. And here's what looks like might be an attempt, and it is. It's an attempt, and it's a goal. And the Quakers increase their advantage to 15-2. And they now have 15 goals at least in both of their games so far this season. And you see number 27, Brooke Steele, and number 25, Allie Earwood, both freshmen, down there doing a little bit of dancing around. Jenna Bishop with the goal there, the sophomore midfield attacker out of St. George, Utah. So she's got quite a trip there as Charlotte Dixon really going out of the way there.
She does some extravagant recruiting. They have a New Hampshire, also have a Georgia, some Marylands.
I see a Connecticut on there, another powerhouse
Ohio.
Ohio.
The Utah we just mentioned, West Virginia, Connecticut also.
Mm-hmm. And the young lady actually from Charleston, West Virginia, Grace Moore, attended the same high school that myself and sports information, or the same name high school that myself and current Averett Sports Information Director Drew Wilson both attended here in Danville, George Washington.
GW, right next to Averett.
Right next to Averett, right next to the tennis courts. And in fact, Averett has even used GW's tennis courts at certain points. The tennis team has. And speaking of tennis, Burt Poole has really, current coach Burt Poole, I believe in his 5th year here at Averett, has really done a great job of coming in here and establishing this Averett program. Well, not establishing it, but as and here's an attempt for the Cougars. That was number 24, Peasley. Cougars are going to pick up the loose ball here. It's going to be number 3, DeLone. So Taylor now trying to fight for it. She's going to pick it up. Oh, and Taylor with a nice little spin move there as she does her best two-step. A dance move, Trevor, every man should know. And there's a shot and a goal. It is number 24, Peasley, who is quite familiar with hearing her name being broadcasted across this PA speaker. And that is trying to get it here for so that was Peasley's 2nd of the game. And one thing that I love about lacrosse too is that each of the players are actually allowed to have their own goal scoring music.
Yeah, that's neat.
Kind of similar to the way they set up baseball.
The walkout songs.
With the walk-up songs and warm-up. And once again, we would like to give a big shout-out to our camera crew here today.
Working in the cold.
Yes, working in the very cold. It's not always easy, Trevor, shooting over this roof. I know I've had to do it a couple of times myself, and you kind of got to keep everything at an angle, and then you got to worry about wind gusts, and it's always a nerve-wracking thing when a gust of wind comes up here, and you always hope that it's not going to
threatens to take the camera.
Yeah, take the camera and send it a few feet down.
On someone's head.
Yes. I believe it was actually 2015 we actually had that happen. There was somebody, it was a I believe it was a member of one of the coaching staffs for a soccer game, had the camera up on the top level of the press box for you guys at home across the other side of the field, and it actually dropped down and, came inches from hitting somebody. But as they say, that is the price of doing show business sometimes. So 5:12 remaining, 15-3 is your score. Averett has done a great job of earning its moniker of the Cougars and staying alert and working hard. And there's another free position shot, and that one's going to hit the safety net behind the field goal post.
Thresher let that one rip.
She did. And we're always glad to see Lacrosse. Of course, you get up into the Lynchburg, Roanoke area, not too far away from Danville. Lacrosse is a little bit bigger of a sport, but hopefully Averett having a team. And there's a battle for a loose ball that is won by the Cougars. She is going to have to avoid the referee there, Peasley, and a little push off there, but Peasley able to maintain, and a nice pass mid-stride. And right now, Peasley really proving that she can just about do it all. There's a drop back pass, and Peasley going for the hat trick. Just about had it.
Oof, really close there.
It was. It's a bit of unluckiness involved. So we'll see what Averett can do. And there's an attempt. There's another shot by Peasley. But a great block by goalkeeper Dano. Let me make sure I'm actually right with my goalies here. Yes, I was. So a little floater, excuse me. And that's going to be collected by Averett. That is going to be number 7, or excuse me, number 2 for the Cougars, Morgan Deering. Freshman attacker out of Edison, New Jersey. And when Ryan first took over, one of the things, Trevor, that she really did to start attracting these kids from the Northeast and these kids that were traditionally very strong lacrosse players, she would have little tournaments here, have little recruiting tournaments, little recruiting things, little prospect camps, highlights, showcases. And then Ryan also really did a great job of just hitting the road and burning up some tires. Yeah. And Ryan, she is definitely a hustler out there. As she continues to, as we see here from the Cougars roster, she continues to hit the rubber. And in fact, if she keeps going like she currently is, she might want to look at investing in some stock out of Goodyear. And there's a shot and a nice save there by Ebby, the sophomore out of Hagerstown, Maryland. And Averett is doing a good job, though, of not collapsing on defense. And here's another opportunity for the Quakers, and Ebby will not be able to get in front of that one. And we're going to wait a second here. And, Trevor, one thing that's interesting is the reason you see him drop the sticks there after each goal is trying to check and make sure that there's no monkey business going on with anything.
The sticks, yeah.
It's definitely a very interesting thing. I know I had to ask around when I first saw that. I thought maybe it was a tradition in lacrosse.
I just wonder what they could possibly do to it after, like, mid-game. How are they going to change their stick to affect it? They check it every time, so you got to wonder, like, what has someone done that has made that rule come about?
Yeah. So what is it, 10%, 90% of your problems come from 10% of your people? Yeah, of course, we all know that there are some pitchers that in baseball that manage to do some pretty creative things as far as Vaseline and baby oil, or also even rub a little snot on there every now and then. I just feel bad for the catcher during flu season there. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us here tonight. So Averett not getting off to the start it hoped for here against the Quakers. They will drop a 16-3 contest to Guilford. Of course, this is just the season opener, and Averett a lot more time to build upon the solid things it did tonight, kind of fix the things that it didn't do. So we're going to take a look here at just we'll take a look here at the leaderboard real quick. Here on the FMS postgame show, you had Nia Gill, who led the way for the Quakers with 4 goals. Abigail Horchar threw in 3. Bednar with 3. Jenna Bishop added 1. You're also looking at Elizabeth Peasley, who had 2, led the Cougars with 2. Abby Taylor threw in the other goal for the Cougars. Also, as we mentioned earlier, Gill with 4. Bishop added 1. Ian Doley added 1. Thresh added 1. Horchar with 3. Brandt with 1. Bednar with 3. Hefflinger with 1. And Earwood with 2. You had Deneau had 7 saves and goals. Finishes with a .700 save percentage. So,
wow. Yeah.
Solid night here at Daly Field for the Quakers net defender. You had Ebby with 8 saves in net. And so definitely not the start that Kelly Ryan and the Cougars wanted, but plenty of time to improve on things that needed improving on. And knowing Ryan being the hard worker she is, and the hard worker her team is, or are.
Yeah, they'll be out there improving.
Yeah, they definitely will. So, all right, well, that is going to do it for us tonight here from Daly Field. On behalf of Trevor and myself, thank you guys very much for tuning in tonight, and I hope you guys will keep it locked here to the Averett Sports Network for everything Averett University athletics related. So you guys have a great night. If you're living in an area where they're calling for some snow, be careful, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Good night.